Good day, viewers. Welcome to your favorite program, La Lumiere the J. It's a privilege to have you watching us today. All across the world, there are people going through different challenges, and what we find out increasingly is that many of the challenges are common, regardless of which geography you are. What we also find out is that a lot of these problems are not addressed because people give the responsibility for addressing those problems to external forces. And as long as you give the responsibility to external forces, nothing's going to change. Things remain the same. Today we shall be looking at the lives of two individuals as they are people who operate in the ministry as Christians, but also operate in the marketplace where they have similar responsibilities. We're going to be learning from them how are they able to straddle between these two worlds and yet remain effective, yet still ensure that the message that they preach or they teach is consistent across board. So permit me to welcome to the show Toyin and Adisa. Toyin, you're welcome to this program.
Thank you.
I also welcome Gbenga, Onipede to this program. You're welcome, Gbenga.
It's nice to be here.
Good stuff. So nice to have you guys. And without wasting more time, let's hear your story. So let's listen to you, Toyin. How has life been combining these two areas? I know you're an architect, right?
No, I'm an estate surveyor.
You're an asset surveyor. Okay, so tell us about yourself.
I didn't start out thinking that I would find myself in a pastoral role, as it were.
Okay.
I remember telling my husband when we were dating that I didn't want to marry a pastor.
You didn't want to marry a pastor?
And
All right.
he assured me that
That he would not be
he
one.
wasn't planning on becoming a pastor.
What else do you expect? He wanted to go and hear.
Well, but one thing was clear for both of us. Anywhere we found ourselves,
Yeah.
whether on campus and life afterwards, we were all out for service.
Okay.
So wherever we found ourselves, we were hands-on with service. And you know the way it is, when you serve, you would always get blessed and rewarded. And to him whom much is given, much is expected.
Yeah.
So along the line, as time went on, we just found ourselves in positions of leadership,
Okay.
and we had to step up to the plate. So as a mom and as an estate surveyor, and then having responsibilities to the church, it takes leaning on God's grace to be able to do, fit those caps and play those roles at the appropriate times.
Okay.
At times where you find that you struggle,
Yeah.
we're human, we have weaknesses, but sometimes I take time out, as in cut everybody out, and
Okay.
just focus and try.
And re-energize the batteries,
Yes,
as it were.
yes,
Do you do that with your husband? You do that? You need me time alone for yourself.
I do that alone.
Okay.
Because we haven't found the reading or doing it together yet.
Okay. Okay.
It's something I don't mind doing together,
Okay.
but more often than not, I do it on my own.
Okay. Next, we're going to be hearing from Gbenga. So, Gbenga, tell us your story.
Well, my story is not far-fetched. I think for me, growing up, multitasking has been part of my life.
Okay.
And growing up without a father,
Okay.
yeah, so whereby you have to be husband to your mom and all of that. I had no motivation. I had to motivate myself. So after secondary school, I had to work to get money to buy a jam form. So it was a personal drive because I have this quest for excellence. I have this quest for greatness. I had this quest to become successful in life.
Okay.
You understand? So getting into school, let me mention I studied mathematics as a first degree.
Okay.
So I got into school, like Tony rightly said, for me service was everything. That's what I've seen my mom done all her life, and service to God anyway. So naturally that rubs up on 5 of us, and anyway I just get to apparently I've been into ministry while on campus.
Okay.
I was privileged to pastor a campus fellowship.
Oh, you passed on it? Okay.
Yeah, I pastored a campus fellowship for about 320 people.
I
So
see.
that naturally brought up my leadership skills and all of that. So coming back to Lagos to settle down into the marketplace was also a bit challenging.
Okay.
I had to spend 11 months at home before I got a job because of the pressure and all of that. But it's quite interesting because I've always believed, I think growing up, I came across a quote by Abraham Lincoln.
Okay.
He said, I've seen people born blind, I've seen people born deaf, I've seen people born paralyzed, but I've never seen a man with a deformed spirit.
Yeah.
So for me, the spirit, if your spirit is intact, that
Yeah.
is the most important thing.
Yeah.
Everything around you might be falling apart. If your spirit is important and your spirit keeps you going.
Yeah.
So for me, that is key. So I got a job afterward. I got married to my wife, and we lived together for eight years before she passed on last year.
Okay.
And that has been more challenging also.
Yeah.
That's another phase. Combining pressure work. Well, let me say this, I started my career in the financial sector on the island precisely.
Okay.
You know how I live on the mainland, the traffic and all of that. And to sum it up, my wife was also in the financial sector. So
Okay.
it was
Okay.
so we joined the church and we were actively involved. Like Toyin also said, when you are involved in service, leadership is placed on you.
Yeah.
You take up roles and all of that. We're both involved, and till she passed on, she was actively involved. And that has been the story so far. It's quite challenging, but somehow when there is a way, there will be a way.
Welcome back, viewers. If you're just joining us, we're treating a very important topic, which talks about how increasingly men and women of God are having to operate not just within the four walls of a church, but also in the marketplace. It's a very thin line between the two, and you need to ensure that your message is consistent. And we've had lots of discussions between Toyin and Gbenga. There's one question I have for you. I mean, you guys belong to different churches, right? You play different roles. Which is the better of the two churches?
We serve one God.
Sorry?
We serve one God, so there's no better church as it were.
There's no better church, are you sure? There's no better denomination.
In my opinion. No.
In your opinion, how about yours?
Well, the first thing is God does not even recognize churches.
Interesting.
Yeah, because when you get to heaven, there is no name of any church. God
Any
recognizes,
denomination.
there is no denomination in heaven.
Okay.
God recognizes you as a believer, as a child of God.
Hmm.
So, the name of churches, denomination is man's theory.
Hmm.
That's my understanding.
How about you? What do you agree with him?
I do agree with him.
Okay, so
Jesus is going to come back for his
Jesus is going to
church
come back
as it
not
were.
just for a particular
Not a particular
denomination, but a church of.
No.
It's interesting that you say this because I've been a Christian for a number of years,
Okay.
and I've been very passionate. I've grown through different churches. I've been a worker. A worker is somebody who's called to serve others. And I've been focused on each denomination. I just focus on everything that I'm told there. And for a while it worked. But sometime I got a revelation that there's one faith, one Lord, one baptism. That day, I dropped my denominational goggles.
It is necessary that every believer is identified with a local church.
That's very correct.
It is very important. So
Yeah.
you have a root, you have a source,
Yeah.
but more importantly, knowledge is vast. You also know scripturally there are different gifts.
Yes.
A pastor, the truth is no church has all the gifts combined.
Excellent, yeah.
So you could also draw resource knowledge from other places, but every believer must have a local
So
church.
can we summarize by saying that as a believer, as a Christian, you should have a local place where you identify, but then you have the opportunity to tap from other ministers because it's an entire body.
Yeah.
That's a good summary, and I subscribe to that.
Yeah,
Thanks.
exactly.
Yeah. But next, let's listen to the music worshiper. So when I press play, you play. 1, 2, go.
Daily as I live, and as often as I breathe, let my whole life
Oh, that's
be an
a song there.
expression of your grace. Daily as I live, and as often as I breathe, let my whole life be an expression of your grace. Daily as I live, and as often as I breathe, let my whole life be an expression of your grace.
So we have a little gift for you guys. Thanks for coming on the show, and we'll do this. So I'll start with the lady. While you were sitting down, now you can have a seat. While we're sitting down, we took a picture of you, of the set. So that's you, that's fresh. Anytime you look at this, you remember that you're on the show. and hopefully you remember the commitment. You didn't make any commitment. Yeah, not yet. So
Thank you very much.
yeah, and for Gbenga,
Oh, thank you very much.
I'm sure that the transition, as you progress, you will be able to make the right decisions. And please keep this close to you. Remind yourself of this day, and we wish you the best as you progress.
Thank you very much.